Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar, starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. Energy Minister Dr. Roodal Moonilal has formally welcomed a strategic gas supply agreement between the National Gas Company, Trinidad and Tobago NGC, and EOG Resources Limited, framing the deal as a vital pillar for the nation's industrial stability and long-term energy security. Of course, we're still waiting for the refinery itself to be reopened, which will be the best news ever for this year. If it reopens this year. I'm hoping and praying that it does. That is the actual backbone of our economy. But the energy industry is reviving, and slowly but surely our economy will be stimulated under this Kamla Persad-Bissessar administration. After not just being stagnant for 9.5 years, people, it was destroyed. It was utterly destroyed. From the moment, especially, besides the lockdowns for more than 2 years, which totally destroyed businesses belonging to the working class and to the middle class. Besides that, when Petrotrin was shut down, when the refinery was shut down, it didn't only cause a lot of people to lose jobs, very significant, high-paying jobs, but it also destroyed our economy. The forex, we were no longer generating as much foreign revenue, US dollars, as we did before. PNM destroyed our country, and now everyone is expecting this government to repair all those issues in the shortest space of time possible. And of course, they are being rallied and encouraged by the Kakash media of Trinidad and Tobago. Every minute they're asking everybody, how you rating the government? How you rating the government? Why you don't ask them to rate the PNM for the past 9.5 years? By finalizing this contract, a remarkable 8 months ahead of schedule, people, both entities have signaled a robust level of investor confidence and operational efficiency that ensures a steady flow of natural gas to the critical petrochemical hub at Point Lisas and the domestic power grid. Moonilal emphasized that this proactive renewal not only reinforces the government's commitment to a commercially viable energy sector, but also secures vital upstream partnerships necessary to navigate an increasingly competitive global landscape, ultimately protecting the economic interests of the state, Trinidad and Tobago.
To this end, the government maintains active engagement with state agencies, including NGC, to identify and pursue opportunities that maximize national returns from our hydrocarbon resources.
The minister said the execution of the contract reflects the government's steadfast commitment to securing a stable, reliable, and commercially viable supply of natural gas for the domestic markets.
Since its establishment in 1977, NGC has evolved from a pipeline operator into a fully integrated energy enterprise, with operations spanning the entire energy value chain. It continues to serve as the sole aggregator of natural gas within Trinidad and Tobago.
Dr. Moonilal emphasized that government remains resolute in strengthening partnerships among upstream stakeholders and key public sector entities.
Through these coordinated efforts, we aim to ensure that strategies pursued and the agreements concluded deliver enduring value, while supporting the sustainable development and long-term prosperity of Trinidad and Tobago's energy sector.
The minister also acknowledged EOG Resources Limited as a long-standing and valued partner, citing the company's achievements and pragmatic approach to exploration, which he said continue to yield tangible benefits for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Nicole Dookie, TTT News.
In a major law enforcement operation on May 2nd, 2026, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Defense Force successfully intervened following a home invasion in Cunupia. And from what the media reported, residents in that area were being tormented by criminals for a while now. Working together to ensure community safety, officers tracked a group of 8 suspects to a forested area near Esmeralda Road. The coordinated response resulted in 3 suspects being fatally wounded during an exchange with police, while 3 others were safely taken into custody. So that kind of rules out the extrajudicial killing scenario there, because if it was like in other cases, if it was extrajudicial killings, most likely all these patriots would have been deceased right now. So in this case, good job, officers, definitely, in my opinion. A fourth suspect is currently receiving medical attention under police supervision. So I guess he also resisted. And authorities continue to maintain a vigilant presence in the area as they search for one remaining individual. The swift action by the Joint Security Forces underscores their ongoing commitment to protecting citizens and upholding public safety across the region. And my response, society and culture tells youths that badness is the best lifestyle to adopt. And then they end up in graves before they can even reach 30 or 40 years of age, before they even reach middle age, before they could definitely have grandkids. Most of the times, even if they do have kids, because the baddest love the bad boys, a lot of the times those kids are still babies when they leave this world. Another despicable tribal concept is that certain groups own TNT, and therefore they have all rights to reap the ancestral inheritance from others who are occupying their land. The bold-faced kind of behavior of a lot of these criminals, it shows what has been placed in their minds since they were children. They honestly do believe that a half of the population is basically occupying their territory, you know. And just like the jihadists and them in the Middle East who want to destroy Israel, they believe they have the rights to do so. Here in Trinidad as well, the patriots who are taking things from people's homes. And taking people's lives as well. Many traditional tribal cultures normalize drug use and lawlessness. And to make matters worse, they are then taught to hate other groups in society from very young. Train up a child, people, with sound biblical doctrine, and they will most likely stay on the right path. I'm not saying it always happens. There's some individuals that went to church and stuff like that, but they never genuinely accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and as Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, and still ended up into a life of crime. But I'm saying in general, you grow up your child in a home, we are teaching them sound biblical doctrine, you have a much higher chance of ensuring that that child remains on the right path. Not perfect at all. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, nowhere near. But nevertheless, it instills into that child's mind and heart to follow the right things in life. Teach the youths to smoke weed, be zesters or baddest, and join gangs. And this, what was reported here, is usually the final outcome. They end up either being killed by police or by other criminals. Gang culture is demonic and destructive, and yet our disgusting eater food radio stations and DJs continue to glorify it on a daily basis. Youths roaming the streets just looking for trouble. Why? Because they've been taught two things. Weed is wonderful, and a life of crime is a lit way of living, a popular way of living. No, don't go and get a normal 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 job, you know, people. Nah. That is not for a zessa. A zessa need to bling. You can't work a normal job and bling. So you have to go and sell weed, and you have to do this and that, and all kind of other illegal activities, joining criminal gangs. And then you don't end up even reaching the age of 30 to enjoy the fruits of your labor, your criminal labor. Telling you, this indoctrination needs to stop. The government needs to come out and say, listen, we are banning all glorification of gang culture in public places and on our airwaves.
Trinidad and Tobago weather report for Sunday, May 3, 2026. General conditions: the weather is expected to be predominantly variably cloudy and breezy at times. There is a mild concentration of Saharan dust present in the atmosphere. Sensitive persons are advised to take necessary precautions and monitor updates for air quality changes. Temperatures high of 33 degrees Celsius 91 degree Fahrenheit to a low of 24 degrees Celsius 75 degree Fahrenheit. Marine forecast seas are expected to be slight to moderate with waves between 1.0 meters to 1.5 meters in open waters. Sun and air quality, the UV index is expected to be moderate with a value of 3 to 4. Saharan dust will result in slightly hazy conditions throughout the day.
Regional news now. The People's Progressive Civic Party government has successfully positioned itself as a genuine partner with the labor movement, something like what is similar to happening here in Trinidad and Tobago. The unions are seeming to draw closer and closer to the United National Congress in spite of certain errors being made. A sentiment echoed by union leaders during the May Day 2026 celebrations as it reflected on a period of unprecedented industrial harmony. And at the end of the day, people, all this is signs of how Guyana continues to develop at an exponential rate, and the whole world is impressed by Guyana's performance and, of course, by extension, the government under Irfan Ali administration. By prioritizing a tripartite approach that brings together government, employers, and the unions, the administration has moved beyond simple wage negotiations to foster a modern culture of industrial relations grounded in mutual respect and shared national objectives. This partnership is evidenced by significant legislative reforms, the implementation of the third Decent Work Country program, and a robust suite of social interventions, including substantial tax threshold increases and a family-centered cash grant. That was definitely significant, and people are still benefiting from it to this very day. A lot of individuals are still waiting to receive theirs. That directly bolstered the disposable income and standard of living for the Guyanese workforce. Ultimately, this collaborative model serves a strategic shield for workers against global economic shocks, ensuring that the nation's rapid development is not just a statistical achievement, but a tangible reality that safeguards the dignity and prosperity of every citizen, not just some. Irfan Ali administration and Irfan Ali himself isn't just serving his supporters or his type or his kind, serving all the citizens of Guyana. Former public defender Arlene Harrison Henry has hailed the Constitutional Court's landmark ruling against the controversial Bengal mining permit as a transformative victory for environmental justice, asserting that the decision serves as a powerful affirmation of the fundamental rights of all Jamaicans. By invalidating the permit granted for mining in the ecologically sensitive Dry Harbor Mountains, the court has effectively established a legal precedent that prioritizes constitutional environmental protections over industrial interests, a shift Harrison Henry describes as a pivotal movement for the nation's judiciary. I do hope and pray that this doesn't end up being used as a way to prevent Jamaica from drilling for oil if there ends up being oil in their coastal or in the ocean near to them, in their area, in their territorial waters. Let's just hope that this is not where this is leading to. This judgment not only underscores the state's obligation to safeguard natural heritage for future generations, but also reinforces that the principle that executive decisions remain subject to rigorous constitutional scrutiny when the health and well-being of the public are at stake. I fully support this. This sounds good. What I'm saying is, don't take it to the extreme and tell them that they cannot drill for oil. Because the whole world does it, and they do it most countries do it in a safe way. Ultimately, the ruling signals a new era of accountability, empowering citizens and environmental advocates to use the Constitution as a proactive shield against unsustainable development and ecological degradation. I tell you this somehow or the other, this sounding like they're going to try to use this as a way to tell the Andrew Holness administration or whichever administration will be in office when that time comes That if they end up being, if the announcement comes, we do have oil in our territorial waters. These people will come out and say, no, that's going to be bad for our environment. Don't drill. It already has activists in Jamaica saying to do that, to leave the oil alone. While your country going to end up remaining in third world status because of that. You need to be able to if you tell you could be blessed with that gold, oil, you could be able to boost your economy in a way that you cannot do with tourism alone, people, or whatever, what other types of products and resources that you probably produce and export. Oil is going to enrich your country in a much more significant way. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has issued a critical advisory to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, urging a comprehensive tax reform to stabilize a nation currently grappling with a high risk of debt in distress and a public debt of 113% of GDP. The administration only in office for how long now? A few months, right? Few months. Pressuring them to already tax the people. And we all know that you cannot tax a nation into recovery or prosperity. Give the people time to undo all the damage that was done by the opposition. But no, that's all the IMF always doing all over the world, trying to bully nations into taxing their citizens. Boy, and that's exactly what they're always trying to do with Trinidad as well. That organization, that body, is controlled by a bunch of socialists. Following the April 2026 Article 4 mission, the fund emphasized that there's no room to lower the standard value added tax VAT rate. Well, you really feel you own St. Vincent and the Grenadines or what? Let's just see what the Prime Minister will end up deciding. Instead, it recommended aligning the special tourism VAT rate with national benchmarks and expanding coverage to digital services to capture lost revenue. As I said before, you're not trying to boost production or encourage or stimulate even more tourism, That is what you should be encouraging. No, telling them to tax the people. While Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday has resisted new taxes in favor of stricter enforcement and modernized property valuations, the IMF warns that an ambitious fiscal turnaround targeting a 3% primary surplus by 2029 is essential to prevent the debt from ballooning to an unsustainable 145% of GDP within the decade. Not if it is you use other means and ways of stimulating your economy to generate foreign revenue, IMF. But you all don't care about that. Your solution is always to tax the poor people. That's always the solution of the IMF. Left up to the IMF, they would have been forcing the Republicans in America to do that too, because American trillions of dollars of debt. So what they want to talk about? But you see, you can't bully America because America is the world leader. You can't bully America. You want to come and try to bully the little islands in the Caribbean. The Barbados Workers Union has secured a major victory for 44 former Berger Paints employees, finalizing a settlement that includes a 12% salary increase backdated to January 1st, 2025. Beyond the retroactive pay and adjusted severance packages following the company's recent closure, the agreement notably includes reparations to resolve a long-standing discrimination dispute involving the firm. Well, that's the kind of reparations that you could support. Not based on things that happened over nearly 2 centuries ago. This landmark resolution, announced during May Day 2026 celebrations, underscores a significant shift in regional industrial relations, holding corporate entities accountable for equitable treatment while ensuring displaced workers receive both financial justice and their full statutory entitlements. Now, this is good news, as I said. The Office of the Prime Minister in Bahamas has defended the government's use of US-based public affairs advisors, calling it a standard and transparent practice to protect Bahamian interests, probably costing the Bahamian taxpayers a lot of dollars. The response follows a Miami Herald report naming figures including Roger Stone, C.J. Pearson, and Doug Davenport, along with DCI Group AZ, as part of lobbying efforts on behalf of the Bahamas under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Now, I don't know if that actually benefits the country or not. People out there can let me know. But I find it just sounds a little strange. The amount of money they probably have to pay these individuals. According to the report, C.J. Pearson is being paid about $20,000 per month, while arrangements tied to Roger Stone and associated firms are reported to reach up to $100,000 per month. An OPM statement said the advisors helped shape US policy discussions impacting areas such as tourism, financial services, border security, and investment, maintaining that such engagements ensure Bahamians' interests are represented at the highest levels. Now, that's good, because America will definitely assist in making Bahamas even greater than it already is in the sense of, in the eyes of the world pertaining to tourism and so forth. That's a whole lot of money to be spending on individuals that just basically lobbying and giving you advice and whatsoever. I don't know, but I don't do. This is not about being anti-American. I fully support America and the Trump administration. This is just about, in this case here, that kind of money being spent, is it really worth it? International news now. President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. will reduce its troops' presence in Germany a lot further than an initial 5,000-member drawdown. It's intensifying a diplomatic standoff with Berlin. This move follows a public rift with German leadership over Middle East policy and long-standing disputes regarding NATO defense spending. Everybody wants to benefit from America, but nobody wants to contribute more financially. By signaling even deeper cuts to the thousands of personnel stationed in the country, the administration is actively pressuring European allies to take greater responsibility for their own security, while signaling a major pivot in America's post-war military footprint in the region. In other words, people, Trump is telling them, stop using us. You want us to protect you, but when we want you to help us in this war against terrorism and terrorists like the Ayatollah, securing the Strait of Hormuz, you don't want to help. You don't even want us using your territory to be able to secure the region even more. No. So you just basically want to use us, and then you're not even really contributing significantly when it pertains to the funding of these different programs and NATO and whatsoever. What they have been doing is taking advantage of America for a very long time now. And that's basically what Trump has been saying for many years now, and he's 100% correct about that.
Why is the U.S. removing troops from Germany?
We're going to cut way down, and we're cutting a lot further than 5,000. Thank you very much.
A Florida fisherman experienced a harrowing encounter in the Atlantic, where a massive bull shark aggressively intercepted his kayak, physically rocking the small vessel in a startling display of territorial behavior. The incident captured on video underscores the increasing frequency of close-range predator encounters as warming coastal waters draw large sharks into popular recreational fishing grounds. Sounds like something that could end up making a movie with, but while the angler emerged physically unharmed, thank God, the encounter has sparked renewed discussions regarding water safety and the unpredictable nature of marine life, serving as a visceral reminder of the thin line between a routine outing and a life-threatening maritime emergency. Wow.
That thing is huge. Oh. That was a monster bull shark. Okay. Wakey, wakey.
Welcome to Real Conservative News Travel Adventures. The Great Sphinx and the Pyramids of Giza stand as the ultimate symbols of architectural mastery and enduring mystery. Situated on the Giza Plateau at the edge of the Sahara Desert, these structures represent a monumental feat of engineering and precision. Together, they form a grand complex that has captured the imagination of travelers and historians for thousands of years, serving as the most iconic landmark of the ancient world. The three primary pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, rise sharply against the horizon, constructed from millions of limestone and granite blocks. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, the largest of the trio, was originally encased in smooth white limestone that would have gleamed brilliantly under the desert sun. These massive structures were built with such mathematical accuracy that their sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the compass. Visitors today can explore the inner chambers and narrow passageways of these giants, experiencing firsthand the silent, heavy atmosphere of their internal galleries. Guarding the approach to these tombs is the Great Sphinx, a colossal limestone statue with the body of a lion and the head of a human. Carved directly out of the bedrock, it is one of the world's largest and oldest monolithic statues. The Sphinx gazes eastward toward the rising sun, standing as a silent sentinel over the plateau. Together, the pyramids and the Sphinx create an awe-inspiring landscape that bridges the gap between the modern world and the deep, rich heritage of the Nile Valley. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you again tomorrow as our journey around the world continues. Interesting facts and inspirational true stories. During the catastrophic Black Summer wildfires of 2019 to 2020, the New South Wales government implemented a radical conservation strategy known as Operation Rock Wallaby to prevent the starvation of endangered brush-tailed rock wallabies. Although these resilient marsupials often survived the initial flames by seeking refuge in rocky outcrops, the subsequent destruction of their habitat left them without any natural food sources in remote, inaccessible terrain. To bridge this critical survival gap, officials deployed helicopters to airdrop thousands of kilograms of carrots and sweet potatoes directly into charred valleys and clifftops. This emergency intervention serves as a powerful testament to human ingenuity and the lengths to which we can go to safeguard biodiversity in the face of climate-driven disasters. Ultimately, this mission reminds us that when nature is pushed to its brink, our greatest tool is not just technology, but the compassion to act. It proves that no terrain is too rugged and no effort is too unconventional when it comes to protecting the vulnerable lives that share our planet. Bible quote of the day. Amos 3:1-8. Hear this word, people of Israel, the word the Lord has spoken against you, against the whole family I brought up out of Egypt. You only have I chosen of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your sins. Do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? Does a lion roar in the thicket when it has no prey? Does it growl in its den when it has caught nothing? Does a bird swoop down to a trap on the ground when no bait is there? Does a trap spring up from the ground if it has not caught anything? When a trumpet sounds in a city, do not the people tremble? When disaster comes to a city, has not the Lord caused it? Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants the prophets. The lion has roared, who will not fear? The sovereign Lord has spoken, who can but prophesy?
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.